Gillis, and welcome to Redskin Review. This is our 6th show for the 2012 football season, and in tonight's show, which is being taped on Wednesday, September 26th, we will take a look back at the Redskins' big 61-28 win over Milford in Week 5, and we'll look ahead to this coming week's game at Loveland. Redskins, with that win, go to 2-3 on the season, 2-0 in the league, and Jeff, what a great comeback after a kind of a fishy start there. Started off 14-0, and the offense scores 55 straight points. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't know if I can remember that we've done that, 54 or 55 straight points like that. Yeah, it was a terrible start. I mean, we didn't play well on defense the first series and fundamentally weren't where we're supposed to be. And it wasn't a play that we hadn't seen, different formation, but we knew it was coming, at least that play sometime. Didn't tackle well, and they scored. And you know, their running backs, he's got a lot of yards. He's a good back. And then we come out and throw an interception for a touchdown. So, like you said, it's down 14-0. And the good thing about it, though, in the previous games, the kids seemed like they got more upset or shook up about that. And I thought they handled that adversity pretty well. I told them that. And we came back and settled down. And really, we played very well on defense the rest of the game. Gave them another score later on, but or actually defensively we only gave them one more touchdown. Right. Our ones did, our twos in the fourth quarter they got 2 touchdowns. So I was happy about that, and then offensively we were able to put some points on the board.
Our stat man Steve Martin pointed out that night we didn't punt the ball not one time that game. Wow. We had 12 possessions, we had 9 touchdowns and 3 turnovers. So.
And the turnovers have been bad for us, and we have got to get that under control. Because this week against Loveland, a really, really good team, we can't afford to have the turnovers. So hopefully we can take care of the ball better.
We've been waiting for the offensive line, the big offensive line, to have a good night. And boy, I tell you what, 378 yards on the ground and almost 10 yards of carry. I thought they played pretty well.
They did. It was really the first game they've all 5 been healthy. The last game, Alex Pfeiffer's knee was bothering him a little bit, and he was only about 75%. The Walnut game. And he struggled a little bit, but he was healthy, and Spangler's healthy now. So all 5 of them are healthy, and they did do a nice job. We were able to run the ball effectively and throw it.
You had junior quarterback Kevin Rogers, very first, I guess, pass through an interception. Yeah. And then after that, he really caught fire, and he threw the ball very well, and a lot of it was to Jared Cook.
Yeah, well, I think Kevin was 10 for 11. So it was
10 for 11, yeah, only incomplete was that.
Yeah, that interception.
10 straight completions.
Right. He threw the ball really well after that, settled down, and I think Jared had 6 catches for over 200 yards, and Jared was Channel 5's Player of the Week, and a couple other things awards he was up for, and Tri-State football. I don't know where he stands on those things, but he did a nice job. But Kevin really did a great job. Plus Kevin, I think, ran the ball for 75 yards or so. So I mean, he threw for over 200 and ran for 75. That's really a good night for him. And if he keeps that up, we're going to be okay.
And Kamel Bradley had another big game. He had 231 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and he showed his breakaway speed on that long run of 62 yards.
Yeah, Kamel can run, and it doesn't take much for him. He gets a little crack, and in our offense, it's a lot of downhill running right away, and he does a good job of reading that, and he can run away from people. So he's close to 900 yards, I think, now.
Jeez,
in 5 games, so he's really having a nice year. And if he can stay on track, he'll have 1,600 yards by the end of the year, which is really good.
Jared Cook, again, as you said, 6. I think it was 6 for 205, 3 TDs, and he really had kind of a slow start, but. A lot of that I think might have been the defense or what was happening, but things now here the last couple games, they've really caught fire here.
Yeah, he has. He and Kevin have seemed like they've kind of found a niche a little bit. And Kevin throws the fade really well, and that's what everything Jared's 3 big passes were fades the other night for touchdowns, and Kevin just puts it out there, and Jared does a nice job of setting the defender up and separating from him, and catches the thing very well. So, they're settled in pretty well, and they've kind of found their niche in the passing game, which is we definitely have to have.
And the big momentum changer, I think, though, was the 80-yard touchdown that he had after you were down 14-0. That was a very huge play.
Return.
Right,
punt return.
Yeah, and we had some great blocks on that, and I mean we scored twice on special teams the other night, and so that was really, really a good thing to see too. We didn't give up any on special teams, and we scored twice. I mean, you're going to win the game when you do that. And Jared had a couple nice cuts, a couple good blocks, and 80 yards later we get our touchdown. So we'll take it.
Yeah, and a big thing that you always like to see too is when you get some of the younger kids to play, and you had a sophomore that had a huge fourth quarter, had 2 touchdowns, 85-yard kickoff return, and that was Austin Facundo. So that was pretty nice to see a sophomore like that come through.
Yeah, he's a good little player. He's going to be a fine player for us. He's stepped in for Kamel a little bit as the year's gone on, and he's not as fast as Kamel, but he's got good balance and really good vision, makes good cuts for a young kid. And his kickoff return was really good in the fourth quarter, and he cut back again, and it was a fun play to watch.
It was kind of interesting for me. Obviously, I'm driving down to Louisville, and I'm getting text messages of everything that's going on. It was phenomenal to get text message after text message on how you guys were doing. I mean, that really says a lot about what you guys were doing that night.
Well, it was nice, and I think it kind of was a stress reliever for the kids. We'd kind of struggled losing those first 3, and we had the Withrow game and kind of blew that one, and then the Walnut game we had in hand and almost blew that one. So they were ready to play. They wanted to play well, and they did a nice job of that. It was a good homecoming crowd too, and had a special honorary captain, Riley Malling, one of our students at school that's in my wife's class, and he's been kind of coming around the team for the past year, and he's kind of an inspirational guy for the kids with how he overcomes some of the things he faces every day, and so that was a neat thing to do too. So there was a lot going on, and
homecoming.
It was a neat crowd, the homecoming, and the weather was supposed to be bad. They moved all the homecoming stuff into the gym, had the circus there and everything else.
Really?
And it was a neat event, and Krista Willards kind of organized that at school and did a nice job with that. And it was good. Everybody had a great time. Weather held off, and we didn't get any rain.
That's big.
You talked about the defense a minute ago, but they scored that first touchdown on that 42-yard run by Williams. But the ones did not get, like you said, did not get a touchdown again until midway through the fourth quarter.
Right, we did a nice job. We had an interception return, and I don't know if we got any fumble recoveries or not. But yeah, I think then defensively we settled in and really kind of shut them down, and we just kept getting the ball back for our offense. So they had multiple possessions in the first half, and they were able to score every time, except for the first one we turned it over. And I think there was another time we turned it over in the first half. But if we do that, if we can get off the field and get our offense on the field and have multiple possessions, we got a good chance to win.
The quarterback from Milford, Overbeck, came in the second in the leg, I think, in passing, and he completed a short pass in that first touchdown drive.
Yeah.
He didn't complete another pass until the fourth quarter. So,
right.
So and he put it up a lot. So
yeah.
I thought the DBs played well too.
Yeah, I think he completed like 6 for the night. It's like 6 for 15, something like that.
But 5 of those were after the game was well in hand.
Right, it was well in hand, and we had the sophomores in and other JV kids. So, he's a good quarterback, and I think defensive coaches did a nice job, had a good game plan. I think the kids executed it well, and it's kind of stuff we've been looking for.
And like you said, on the Williams kid is a really good running back.
He is.
He had the nice run for the touchdown.
Well, he's probably got 700 yards.
Yeah, but after that, I mean, I can't tell you how many times he was shut down for 4 yards or less on a carry.
Yeah, we did a good job. Tackled pretty well. We talked about our alignment. Correct, being aligned correctly, and then knowing our assignment, running the ball and tackling. I mean, we kind of stressed those 4 things all week, and I think the kids did a good job of that.
You had talk a little bit about your penalties you had early on. You ended up 11 penalties for over 100 yards, I believe, or close to it.
3 on that first possession.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something I know that you had with the line? Was that a factor, maybe in a sluggish start, maybe, or was that just?
Yeah, I mean. I watched the film. I mean, I guess they could have been called, and our guys got to do a better job of keeping their hands inside.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting their hands outside the frame of the body, and we're getting called for holding, and we've got to stop that too. I mean, we really are penalized a great deal, and most of them are on our offense, and they've got enough experience that shouldn't be happening, and so hopefully this week we don't have the penalties and we don't have the turnovers, and we can play a good, clean football game, because those things are, they've been a problem all year so far, and we talk about it in practice. We point it out when we see it. all those kind of things. And the kids just have to concentrate and do the technique properly.
Yeah, your special teams again improvement was really nice. You had 2 TD returns, no long run backs. I mean, you got to be really happy. And then Penley, I think, was 7 out of 9 on extra points. Is that correct?
Yeah, AJ's coming along. He's doing okay as a kicker for us, and Dylan Smith's punting the ball pretty well where we want him. Like I said, neither one of them has a super strong leg, but they're disciplined enough to do what we ask and kick the ball off where we want to for the most part, and then hopefully we can cover it and tackle them.
I thought that sooner or later I thought Correll was going to block one of those.
I know, he's close.
He came so close so many times on the punts and on the place kicks too.
Yeah, Josh's effort's been really good this year, and he's really grown up as a player, and and he's only a junior, so we get to have him another year.
Yeah.
You got so many of them, don't you? For that family, the Correll family.
Yeah, they're still coming. There's another one.
Zeke's coming.
Corrells and Norwells.
I'm telling you,
they've been a
staple at Anderson High School.
Yes, they have.
But after you had your 0-3 start, you had a couple league wins. You were right in the back, and you always talk about how you want, the improvement. And each week, I think you guys have improved, and I think it's like the confidence levels definitely built up a lot for the kids.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of experienced kids coming back, but we also had some kids that were playing for the first time, and confidence is a big part of it when you're playing varsity football the first time. You got to believe you're a good player, and you can make the plays, and you belong on the field on Friday nights. And sometimes it just takes some time and repetition over and over and over to get that feeling, and especially after going 4-6 last year, I think some of them probably had a few doubts, but I think they believe in themselves now, and they're confident and relaxed. And like I said, we've got really 2 tough games ahead of us now, Loveland and then Turpin, and then Glen Estee after that. So it doesn't get easier for us. Our schedule's definitely difficult this year, and we have to just play. And like I told them last week, we're trying to go 2-0 in our second season, and this week we're trying to go 3-0 in our second season. And those first 3 games are behind us. We can't do anything about it, but we can do something about the last 7, and hopefully we can keep that going.
Were there any injuries from the game?
Nothing big. Ryan Mahorny hurt his knee a little bit, so he's probably doubtful for this week. But for the most part, we came through pretty healthy.
Good.
Yeah.
Offensive, defensive, special teams players of the game.
Offensive player was Kevin Rogers, quarterback, 10 for 11, 200-some yards, and 75 yards rushing as well. Did a nice job, threw the ball really well. Could have given it to Jared, but Jared's had his share of honors as well. And Kevin really stepped up and had a nice game. Defensively, Jason Zeleste had an interception.
Yep.
Jason's just a hard-working senior that has finally got his time on the field. He's not sharing a spot with anybody, and he's an aggressive kid. He'll hit you, and he got a nice interception. And then special teams was Austin Facito for his run back in the 4th quarter, and we also put him in on the kickoff team. He had a couple tackles, he's going to be a nice player for us.
How did the JV and freshman teams do this week?
JV won 30-20, I think. I think we had 6 interceptions, they said.
Wow. And
then I think we jumped up early, and then we had a bunch of turnovers. Didn't play very well. Freshmen got beat 31-20. And Loveland's got a good, Milford had a nice group of freshman kids.
So what are the records? Are they about 500?
JV's 3-1. Because they didn't play the Lakota West game. Freshmen have not won. They're 0-5. They've been in the games. They've had their
really
chances.
Well.
And they're a nice group. There's some talent there. There really is. And the records is not indicative of their talent level.
All right. Let's go ahead and start talking about the game this week at Loveland. Loveland is 4-1. They are coming off a 21-0 win against Kings, and they have had 3 straight shutouts, right. and this will be a tough task for your team.
Yeah, well, they're a 4-man front. And they blitz a fair amount, play a lot of man-to-man, which is they haven't done as much, but they've got some really good DBs. Got a kid, number 2, that was an all-league player last year, and he'll probably be following Jared all over the place. And they're just they're disruptive on defense, and they're just playing really fast and confident. And our offense has its work cut out for it. That's for sure. So they're coming off 3 straight shutouts of Oak Hills and Glen Estee, I think, and Kings. So it's a challenge for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about their offense. I know that they've got Ryan Terry's third in the league in passing, but I remember Graham. I'm pretty sure he played last year, didn't he? He's a pretty good ball player. He can run, man.
Peters.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a real good back. He can carry it 30, 35 times. He's durable, and he may not have the breakaway speed of like Kamel, but he's fast enough that he can get the edge on you, and he can hurt you. Got good balance. He's a strong kid, probably close to 200 pounds. Got a big fullback in there. Mm-hmm. Their offensive line is really big. They've got a lot of weapons on offense. They're also playing a sophomore quarterback more and more who's a good runner.
Really?
Yeah, so they've got a couple quarterbacks they can throw at you, the one that can throw a little bit better maybe than the sophomore, but the sophomore can run really well. So they're definitely a good team, and we knew going in the year that they would be really good because their underclass levels have been good. They beat us last year, I thought they might be one of the top teams in the league. So, this is definitely a challenge going over there for homecoming as well. Could be tough.
Well, their offense, obviously we just talked about that, but I think their defense is obviously their bread and butter. They're only averaging 60 yards a game, I think, through so far, and
on rushing.
Yeah, and 3 straight shutouts. I mean, that really tells you how good their defense is.
Yeah, it's real good, and we're going to have to be able to run the football some because if we have to keep going out there 3 and out, and our defense is on the field, they're just going to wear us down with that big offensive line, and their rushing attack. They try to outnumber you at the point of attack and move guys around, shift guys around. They kind of remind you of Stanford a little bit with how they try to get four guys to a side and outnumber you on everything, and then just run the ball up in there, and it's not real super fancy stuff.
They're kind of like a smash mouth kind of football.
They really are. So we're going to have to be really stout on defense and hopefully can slow their rushing attack down so we can get our offense on the field.
Now, obviously, those are the keys to the game is, turnovers, being efficient on offense. I mean, I'm sure that's probably...
Yeah, I mean, offensively, like I said, I think we have to limit the turnovers we've had, limit the penalties we've had. I think we can move the ball. I think the coaches have a nice game plan, and our offense is good too. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a good offense against a good defense. We'll see what happens. I think offensively we're the best team they've played all mm-hmm. year. Lebanon's really good throwing the ball, and Lebanon beat them. Second game of the year?
Yep.
I think 42-28 or something mm-hmm. like that. Lebanon's got a couple really good receivers, one of them going to UC. And then defensively, I think the key is we have to stop their rushing attack, or they're going to eat the clock up and just wear us down. So, special teams they have a pretty good kicking game, and we just have to be solid in our special teams.
You mentioned the 2 big games coming up. Right now, as we stand, us, Turpin, and Loveland all 2-0 in the league, so we're all tied for first. And you've got the Turpin and Loveland coming up.
Right. So we control our destiny, and but we got to worry about Loveland first. They're really good, and we just want to play. We just want to keep improving and play well. If we do that, I feel like we have a good chance to win the ball game, and it's not going to be a 61-28 win, that's for sure. It's going to be a tight game, and won't be decided hopefully, till the fourth quarter, and hopefully it's in our favor.
I got to tell you, the offensive games where there's points scored like that, those are a lot more fun to call than if it's like 3-0 or 7-3 or something like that.
Yeah, I know it's exciting, but I appreciate good defense. Somebody has to.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we don't score that many points, I might be done for the year.
I'm telling you, John Raymond
might step in.
John stepped in while Danny was out, and John stepped in and did a great job. And and I'm telling you,
I'm on the bubble right now. I'm on the bubble.
That's how Lou Gehrig got started. The first baseman.
Wally
Pip, that's right. Start calling Danny Wally.
Yep, could be in trouble. We're going to talk a little bit about the Alumni Association. I know John's worked hard on trying to get something worked out, I believe, for the Glen Estee game. They're going to have like a little 12th, cookout, get everybody together up by the tennis courts. So we're going to try to post all that on Facebook again. And it really, honestly, we've always talked about this week in and week out, but it's really growing and evolving into something that we hope will continue to be something very special.
Yeah, I think it is. We had a lot of guys there at homecoming before the game. We had Joby Wetterer and Mark Wetterer and Scott Erickson and Joe Flading were in the locker room.
Great.
Wow,
Matt Bailey's always there. And,
yep.
So there's a lot of former players that have been coming around, and those guys they're welcome to come in the locker room. I mean, for the game, and I introduced those guys to the kids.
That's awesome.
Tried to get Mark and Joe and Joby to dress out, because they still look like they could play quite a bit. That wouldn't work though.
Well, I love the fact that Matt still hangs around because he's old as dirt like I am when we both played, and we remember the bad. I mean, I think Matt was a sophomore when I sophomore.
Yeah,
junior.
Matt graduated
Matt, 87, 88.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was playing varsity when I was playing varsity. So it was Matt. We both kind of remember how bad it really was. So it's great to see Matt still hanging around.
Mark Wetter had a great career in Louisville. In fact,
he did.
He signed with the Bengals, and he went to the summer camp with the Bengals for a little bit.
Right. He gave it a shot, and then I think his shoulder injuries hurt him a little bit on that. And Joe Flading had a lot of interest to play as well, but Joe decided that he'd had enough and went on to go out and work like everybody else. So. But those guys just had great careers for us at Anderson and also at Louisville and then at OU for Joe.
We have one other guy in college right now having a great career, and that's Andrew Norwell.
Absolutely.
Is really dominating on the line for Ohio State.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's been probably their most consistent lineman all year. He's really very physical and does a nice job, just like he was in high school.
Is he playing guard now?
Yeah, he's playing guard.
Okay.
Yeah, left guard.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's thank the folks who make this broadcast possible, along with the games and everything else that we do. The good folks here at Anderson Community Television, we appreciate their help, their equipment, their air times. Thanks to John Raymond for doing a great job filling in for Danny the other night, and everything he does for us. Denise White was there doing everything she does every week. Dan, you missed out on the hot dogs.
It figures. Now we got an away game.
We had a real nice spread, but I think part of that was because you weren't there. But,
absolutely. Had more for you guys.
So and remember, if you can't make a game, just like Dan couldn't make the game, Dan listened to John and I on his website, usbnsports.com. So if you have someone out of town where you can't make a game, we are always doing the games live on usbnsports.com, and it came through pretty good.
A big thank you to Tim Huntington because they had the computer did an automatic update on the computer and it shut down, and those guys called me right.
Do you know when that was? That was about 8 minutes before kickoff.
So Tim Huntington did a great job getting that up and running for everybody to listen. So he saved the day.
Good.
Yeah.
Tim Huntington has done the camera for us for like the last 12, 13 years and does a great job. And Steve Martin was there giving me stats. And let me tell you something, it makes a big difference when I've got Steve Martin giving us the stats.
Absolutely.
Just adds to it. We knew exactly what kind of game Kamel was having.
Yeah.
We knew how many yards Jared had. It's great to have that I can communicate that during the game.
And he's amazing how spot on he is. I mean, he's maybe a yard off, maybe, if that. And most of the time he's right on.
He takes great pride in it. So.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Good.
So, again, Coach, good luck this week against Loveland on the road.
Thanks.
And hope we come out with another win and be 3-0 in the league.
Yeah, get our record back to 3-3, 3-0 in the league, and 4 games left to try to keep winning.
Absolutely. For Dan Alvarez, Jeff Giesting, I'm Greg Ellis. Thanks for joining us on Redskin Review.